A new Wordle puzzle is online. Click on the link to play.
Listening to the following video may give you clues. Please like and share the videos.
Child sex offender involved in Madeleine McCann's disappearance. A German child sex offender may be the suspect in the kidnapping of 6-year-old Madeleine McCann.
The schoolgirl, who was missing from Portugal on May 3, 2007, is 6 tall and of slim build. The suspected child sex offender is serving a prison sentence for a sex crime and has been convicted twice for sexual contact with girls.
While a sexual motive has not been ruled out, German police are treating the case as a murder. Christian Bruckner.
Several investigations into the disappearance of Madeleine McCann have turned up several suspects, including the convicted child sex offender, Christian Bruckner. While he is not a suspect in the McCann case, his criminal record shows that he was convicted of sexual abuse as a teenager.
He was sentenced to 2 years in prison for sexual acts involving children when he was 17 years old. Bruckner's conviction is the most recent in his long criminal history.
After pleading guilty, he was arrested and returned to Germany to serve a youth custody sentence. But he was able to return to Portugal, and in the years since, he had earned enough money to buy a second-hand Jaguar.
That Jaguar is the aubergine-colored XJR6 that is at the heart of the investigation. Despite his past convictions, Bruckner has been linked to a sex attack nearly a month before Madeleine McCann disappeared.
She recognized Bruckner from a television report and said he had attacked her when she was 10 years old. The woman is claiming that Bruckner is the man behind the abduction of Madeleine McCann.
While Bruckner's criminal history is far from clear, it's worth noting that he is not facing any charges related to the disappearance. The AFP reported that he was charged in Germany following a request from the Portuguese police.
There are many unanswered questions regarding the case. This is not a time to lose hope.
Former British politician. A former British politician has been implicated in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann, a young girl who went missing nearly 2 years ago.
While the public initially assumed that the abduction was the work of a child sex offender, it is now being suspected that a former British politician is to blame. Sir Clement Freud was a child molester and a politician in the UK.
The McCann family was shocked and upset when he was accused of sexual abuse of a young girl. The former British politician is accused of leaking Madeleine's DNA from the McCann's rental car.
The British and Portuguese police teams then dig in the wasteland in Praia da Luz and interview witnesses and suspects. The British government apologizes for the leak of the files in the PJ case.
The News of the World publishes Kate and the Twins' diaries. The McCanns hire private investigator David Edgar.
The McCanns' lawyer wins the libel case against Amaral. Meanwhile, the British Home Secretary approves $5,000 for the investigation.
The McCanns' family and friends believe that the daughter was abducted and taken to the Portuguese island of Praia da Luz. After hearing this, the Portuguese authorities decide to reopen the investigation.
However, the Portuguese authorities say that there is no new material to help them in their investigation. The police then begin Operation Grange, an investigation into the disappearance of Madeleine McCann.
The police have identified 38 individuals of interest, including 12 Britons. Bruckner's confession to a friend.
The details of Bruckner's confession to a friend in the case of Madeleine McCann's disappearance remain murky. It is unclear whether the confession was real or not, and how it might affect the case.
Bruckner was a member of the McCanns family, and lived in Portugal near the sea at the time of Madeleine's disappearance. However, he was in Portugal on the night Madeleine went missing, and his cell phone was in his pocket the night of her disappearance.
Bruckner's confession to a friend has not been released and is currently serving a 7-year sentence in Germany for raping a 72-year-old American woman. However, his involvement in the Madeleine McCann case is being investigated by the Portuguese authorities.
His lawyer, Nakshij Miftari, said the confession did not confirm he was a suspect. Bruckner's confession to his friend was uncovered when investigators conducted an investigation into his past.
A number of videos and photos showed the former factory owner linked to the disappearance of the American girl. The German prosecutor hopes to charge Bruckner in 2022.
Until then, he had been serving a prison sentence for raping a 72-year-old woman in Portugal. Bruckner has already been convicted of numerous charges dating back to the past several decades, including child pornography and sex crimes against children.
The confession from Bruckner to his friend in the Madeleine McCanns case has led to a renewed investigation into the disappearance of the young girl. Tatchell had lived with Bruckner in Portugal.
He described him as a pervert, and once told him that he wanted to sell children to Morocco. His friend believes Bruckner sold Madeleine to another individual or sex ring.
The two spent 8 months in prison together, but were released in December 2006. Statute of limitations.
A German prosecutor hopes to bring charges against a child sex offender in the disappearance of 12-year-old Madeleine McCann by 2022, although he admits that the evidence is only circumstantial. While there is no scientific evidence linking Bruckner to the murder, he said the confession to a friend was enough to prove that he killed the little girl.
Investigators collected phone records in the area before McCann disappeared, and in one of the years afterward, they collected more evidence. So according to reports, the prosecutors have declared convicted German sex offender Christian Bruckner as a suspect in the disappearance of Madeleine McCann.
While Portuguese prosecutors aren't naming the person in question, they did say that they were acting on the German authorities' request. Bruckner was initially flagged as a suspect in the disappearance 15 years ago, but Portuguese prosecutors refused to name him.
The German police sent a report about Bruckner to the Federal Criminal Office in 2013. 2 years before Inga Jurek was arrested and convicted, or after a decade of investigation and public outcry, the German police revealed that a child sex offender was the prime suspect in the Madeleine McCann's disappearance.
The suspect was identified as pedophile Christian B., who had previously raped an Irish tour representative. He is currently serving a prison term in northern Germany, where he also raped a 72-year-old woman.
The suspect's parents were declared arguidos as status, which prevents them from being charged. Bruckner's rape record.
The rape record of one of the prime suspects in the Madeleine McCann case could come as a surprise to some people. Hans Christian Wolters, who is leading the case, did not comment on the rape record of Bruckner, who will most likely be charged in the next 3 months.
However, he has been involved in other cases, including child pornography and torture. Bruckner, who was 18 years old when he was arrested in Milan, Italy, has a lengthy rape record.
After a conviction for raping an American tourist in the Algarve, he has since been jailed for 7 years. Despite his guilty verdict, he remains in custody.
Bruckner's defense lawyers are trying to have his conviction overturned, saying that he was extradited from Italy on a different charge and therefore could not be tried again. Bruckner was previously convicted of raping a 7-year-old American tourist in Portugal in 1995.
After the conviction, he moved to Portugal with his girlfriend and began working odd jobs in Portugal. When Madeleine disappeared, he was living in a VW Westfalia camper van. He
returned to Germany shortly after the incident and worked at a kiosk in Braunschweig for a while. Allegations that he knew what happened to Madeleine McCann.
A convicted German sex offender has emerged as a new prime suspect in the case of Madeleine McCann. The case has become a global obsession after a 43-year-old man was convicted of several crimes, including child sexual abuse.
German police are set to reveal more details of their investigation at a press conference on Thursday. A fresh appeal was launched for information on the alleged offender, which they say is of vital importance.
Using age progression technology, police believe the man was with the child on the night Madeleine went missing. The case has risen to almost 8,000 in 2016 and spans more than 100 countries.
The police, led by Detective Chief Inspector Andy Redwood, have met with Portuguese authorities in Lisbon. Sir Bernard Hogenhow has defended the investigation and the Portuguese police's response.
Investigators believe Christian Bruckner was a pedophile who had raped a 72-year-old American tourist in the Algarve 18 months before the disappearance of Madeleine McCann. He broke into hotels and apartments to supplement his drug income, according to investigators.
Although he had lived in the area for a decade, he had previously confessed to the abduction to a friend in a bar. German police believe Bruckner knew what happened to Madeleine McCann, while Scotland Yard believes the man was an unreliable witness.